how's the week been for you and your side after that disappointment against Leigh on Sunday?
It's been tough. I can't hide the fact that it's been very tough. There's been a lot of soul searching by everybody, and there's been a lot of honesty and brutality, shall we say, verbally. So I think really we've emerged from that stronger. I hope we have. And now we can look forward. But the early part of the week has been very tough.
It's fair to say that the standards were dropped against Leigh, and you mentioned that perhaps there was a character defect. Has that been ironed out?
Well, the only time we'll see is on Sunday, Mick. And not just Sunday, because that's a one-game bounce back. We need to bounce back with a bit of consistency. So perhaps you can ask me in 6 weeks, and perhaps I'll be able to answer it a lot more accurately in 6 weeks. But I certainly feel much better about myself. I certainly feel much better about our team, and the coaches are similarly so. So there is at the minute a positive frame of mind coming out of that adversity and that honesty and that brutality that's been earlier on.
What do you look for in the players in training after a performance like last week?
You look for a focus, you look for an intensity, you look for an application that they really do mean what they say, and we saw that. So that's good on them, but it ain't just matter seeing it once, as I've said before. I don't want a one-game bounce back, I want a half a dozen game bounce backs and some consistency from that. And then we can look back and think, well, it was tough to take, it was difficult, it caused a lot of soul searching, but it might well be for the good of the group.
And what a better way than a positive response against Halifax at Odsal on Sunday, a game which, for me and many other people, probably falls in must-win territory.
Yeah, well, every game's a must-win, isn't it? If you've got to put it in perspective, it's 2 points. We'll get 2 points if we win. Halifax will get 2 points if they win. So you can't crank up the pressure too much, because there's got to be a bit of realism as well. But obviously they're one of our rivals. They are there or thereabouts with us, and I'm sure that they will be seeing it as a must-win as well, and they'll be looking for a bit of bounce back as well. Although having watched their last 2 games, they certainly weren't as bad as we were against Leigh, so perhaps there isn't as much of a crisis, shall we say, going on there.
Both sides just one win in the last 5, 2 desperate sides wanting 2 tough points, John.
Yeah, there's that, but I think that also goes to show, emotionally and physically what big games takes out of you. And if it had just happened to us, you could say, what's gone wrong with them? But when it's happened to Bradford and Halifax, 2 of the teams involved in those big games, because you've got to look at Halifax this season. They had a massive game against London, and we all seen what London have done in Super League, and they put London to the sword at the Shea, and then they've managed to get through to the semi-final, which obviously we wanted to. We had a massive game against Leeds, and then we came up with that effort against Halifax, which took a lot out of us, and I'm sure that's taken a lot out of them. But you want to be in games like that. What do we do? Do we not want to enter the Challenge Cup because it'll affect our league performances? Well, I want to enter the Challenge Cup, and I want to do well in the Challenge Cup. We did, and so have Halifax. But perhaps this is the cost we've had to pay in the immediate aftermath.
It's going to be the 5th time that you've played Halifax this season, if you include the Yorkshire Cup and the Challenge Cup, John. How do you vary the game plan when you're playing them so often to keep things fresh?
Yeah, it's easy to vary the game plan because obviously what you do is and that's what you try to do. When you play a team a lot of times, you don't do the same thing week in, week out. You've got to put different emphases on different aspects of the game, different principles of play brought in. So that's what we've done this week as well. So what you saw against Halifax over at I'm going to say Thrum Hall, it shows how old I am, doesn't it? Over at the Shea, and what you saw against Halifax at the Summer Bash, and what you see against Halifax in the Challenge Cup will be different to what you see this week. And I'm certain that Simon Grips will be saying exactly the same to his players as well.
And after looking back on those previous 4 games, what have you learned about Halifax?
They're good.
And their capabilities, John?
Yeah, they're good, aren't they? I mean, let's face it, they're a good team. And they'll be looking to resurrect their season as well against us, and they've got plenty of strike, plenty of toughness, plenty of smartness out there, and we know they'll challenge us. But equally, I think they think we're good as well. So it should be a very intriguing and a very close contest.
In terms of team news for this one, John, I believe the virus has resurfaced. Have we got any players potentially missing?
We have, but we'll keep that between ourselves, Mick, because I don't want to play somebody perhaps who's been suffering from a virus and having targeted by the opposition. So but we're working on eliminating it. We're doing all sorts of things in and around the training base. But obviously, when you're tackling each other, when you're wrestling each other, it's very close contact. So it's easy for things to spread, etc. So we'll just attempt to eliminate it as soon as we possibly can. But yes, there's one or two suffering again this week, but hopefully we'll get through that.
Is it too early to say then if Colton Roach and Jake Webster will be available?
They're both available, yes. The only thing with Colton is he's had a groin strain, so Colton will have to prove his fitness with regard to that. But Jake, he's over it, so he won't get it again, because obviously his immune system will be able to counter it now. But we've got a couple of other lads who've picked it up, so but we're keeping quiet about it, because there's some things you've got to keep close to your chest.
In terms of Joe Keys, Jai Hitchcocks, you mentioned previously they could be available, they could be playing in the reserves. Have you made a decision yet, either way?
Yeah, as I say, we'll train tonight, and that will be when the decision's made. Joe's looking really good, so I'm really excited, to tell the truth, about Joe being available, and obviously that would be a massive boost to us. Jai will have to see, because he had a lot of contact on Tuesday, and I thought he came through it great, but you don't know how sore they are in the ensuing 48 hours, and it's only when he has to back that up tonight that we'll be able to make a final decision.
Will you be making the final decision based on the players and how they're feeling?
Yes. It'll be me having a quiet little, I'll obviously speak to medical staff, that's why I employ them, but it'll be just having a little walk around the field and a little chat with them, and just seeing exactly where they feel they're at.
Conor Farrell's dead leg, has he recovered?
Okay, yeah, he's back, so that's another big boost to us. So, we took the hit last week, but it's been a 2-week injury, because he'll be back for next week. So that's a lot better than him playing last week with it strapped up, getting another bang, and it might turn into a 4 to 6 week injury. So yes, it hurt getting done by Lee as we did, but yes, it was the right thing to do with Conor.
The reserves put in quite a commanding performance last Wednesday, John, and obviously with the first team doing so poorly, has that crossed your mind, played on your mind? Have you looking to really change things, freshen things up on Sunday?
There's that aspect to it, but you've got to put things in perspective. I think playing against Keighley Reserve is slightly easier than playing against Lee Centurion's first team. So you've got to put that in perspective. But they did everything that they could possibly do with the opposition that they had in front of them, and that was very good for them. And that obviously did come into our thinking. But we've got to think who we played, and we've also got to think who we are playing with regard to who we select for the first team.
It's the Armed Forces Day at Odsal on Sunday. The club are doing a fantastic promotion, 10,000 tickets for £10. It really would be great, John, to see Odsal packed to the rafters like we saw for the Halifax Challenge Cup game, the Leeds Challenge Cup game, and obviously if what you're saying, the players have had a bit of honesty at a crisis meeting, that the performance on the field can match the occasion.
Yeah, well, I think it's a great occasion. I've got to compliment the club and as to what they've done with regard to this, and you talk about a bit of adversity, you said a crisis there. Well, when you see what some of these guys in the armed forces have to endure and have to go through, that's when it's tough, and that's adversity. So again, as I've said about when you put opposition in perspective, you also put your life circumstance in perspective as well. And these people in the armed forces are very, very tough people, and I'm really proud to be associated with this day, and I hope it's a massive success and we represent the armed forces as they should be represented, because I'm really proud of them.
And the games at Odsal, John, and I was looking at the stats, you've won your last 6 home games in the championship, so after those 2 early defeats to York and Toulouse. Slowly but surely, Odsall's turning back into the fortress.
You always cheer me up, don't you, mate, with your stats. So yeah, that's good. That's I'm pleased with that. But we lost last time we played Halifax at Odsall, didn't we, as well? So I'll throw a stat back at you. But it's another game. It's the next 80 minutes. It's a very important 80 minutes, and we'll prepare as well as we possibly can for it.
And in terms of recruitment and retention for next season, when can we expect some announcements on the players?
Well, obviously I know has agreed and so on, and I'm pretty pleased with what we've done at the minute, but the club will decide to put it out when they see fit, because obviously it's like anything else. You put it out in a structured way, and you put it out in a way that feeds good news out at certain times. So I'm pleased with what we've done up to now. There's lots of work to do in the future, but up to now we've done okay. So it will be out, but it's up to the club's administration when it goes out.
Fair to say, John, some exciting news then on the horizon?
Well, I think so. Well, it's in on the horizon for me. I know, but exciting news on the horizon for the fans.
Yes,
Yes, it is. Yes, very much so.